And we are live. Greetings and salutations, Focus Up family. Welcome to the November 11, 2023 installment of the Focus Up Show. We thank you for tuning in with us live every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. on YouTube and various other platforms, or catching up with us on replay. And we ask that you click that like, that subscribe, that bell, and share to support and maintain your weekly Focus Up fix. I am Mr. Nice Guy, nice as in the word saint spelled backwards, and my co-hosts are today she's not on camera yet, but the First Lady Jay, as always. We got the infamous El Pooh, and we got Brother Clayton Bigsby, which I think is a play on Dave Chappelle's character. Mama named him Omar, but yeah, welcome to the show, brother. Floyd X and Brother Walker are not going to be on the show today. They may tap in on the comments, but what's going on with you, Brother Clayton Bigsby?
Okay, look where I'm gente in La Casa. Gotta keep practicing my Spanish, So yeah.
That's what's up. What's going on with your El Pooh? What it do?
Yes, sir. Blessed and happy to be here once again, brother.
And you know what? I should say El Pooh, host of the hit show Spin That Back, that's been blowing up in the ratings over there. So, so salute to that.
Have y'all seen some of my comments? I felt like I had to correct some of the hip hop history.
Oh, you were the one talking about when they were talking about the Kid and Play?
Yeah.
I wasn't on that show because me and Brick Walls, we were in Boston, or I guess technically in Providence, because my daughter was getting married. But I saw that. I was like, they're messing that stuff up. So yeah, those
I learned a lot though. I learned a lot listening to that episode myself though.
Oh man. Hey, you know what? I love it. Brick Walls always bring a lot of good information. Everybody, El Pooh, I learned stuff as well. I was there, but I didn't see everything, so I appreciate it. And I just love talking hip hop. So, and again, Spin That Back is going to be going on 30 minutes after this show. So, as always, you're welcome on that show as well. So, you got a standing invite for Spin That Back. But let's get to the let's talk about a C night of the first we're going to talk about we're going to talk about Veterans Day. So today is actually Veterans Day. A lot of people observed Veterans Day yesterday because they weren't working today. So if you were the court, then you were closed on Friday, but banks, which are open on Saturdays, they're taking this actual day. Now, I may feel how I feel about the United States military. I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm a big proponent of it, but they are a necessary function. Our safety is tied to it. I'm a little bit of the Furious Styles take on the U.S. military, but we do understand that of the Focus Up family, Brother Floyd X and Brother Walk, have served, and a lot of their family has served, and I definitely think there are benefits to getting through that process. Great discipline, great knowledge, great benefits, and again, it's very important that the military exists, at least for the threat of other people doing terrible things to us here in this country. But I'm sure Clayton Bigsby's got, a little take about that, about the Veterans Day. What you got to say, brother?
Well, I want historically, my understanding is that the date started after the so-called Civil War, the war between the states, I like to call it. But it came about as a result of that, and was a celebration that started with Black people in commemoration specifically of the Union Army and the folks who fought on behalf of freedom. Of course, the main primary people being Black people themselves. But with that aside, no, I do not support the military, dissolve U.S. imperialism. I think that, it's beneficial for people to work for the government, to carry out social service for the government. But social services like reducing poverty, like addressing education, but not military service. You're serving the United States imperial war machine. And that is absolutely that's contraindicative to solving the problem. That's contraindicative to liberation. Basically, it's some no bullshit. No, we're not. I'm not. I don't support the military. I don't salute the red, white, and blue. Not patriotic in any sense. But hats off to everybody who gives their lives for a political cause when they're on the side of justice. So, but the United States is not on the side of justice.
Hey, I support what you said wholeheartedly. El Poo, what you got to say about this, brother?
Well, first thing I want to say, salute to all those people that have served and serving. I'll give you that. But actually, let me try to correct something if I can. If I'm not mistaken, I thought it was Memorial Day that was the thing that was started by the black people. But either way, it's all the
Oh,
same.
you're absolutely right. That was my
Yeah.
no, it wasn't my bag. I jumped. I completely.
Good, you
Hey,
good.
see, we come with the information and the facts, so I'm learning something from both of y'all brothers. So,
It's each one teach one on this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Always.
the whole thing is, I get Veterans Day, Memorial Day, Columbus Day, and all these other holidays all mixed up. I thought what's that? Valentine's Day was next month, but it's actually Thanksgiving. Well, this month actually. Oh, it's even this month. I see. I already know someone else. I don't know where I'm at. I don't do no holidays except New Year's and my birthday. That's it.
okay, I can rock with that. I can definitely rock with that. So, the next in the news topic is C Night of the Dub Shack. Rest in peace. Now, I didn't know much of their product, but obviously that Summertime in the LBC was a big song. I actually liked it. I thought it was dope. This is I know that this brother had a stroke. He was in dialysis, and he basically had a stroke and died from that. So they took him off of life support, and I believe he's only like 52, 53 years old, basically around my age. And it's kind of tough. I mean, it's tough when you're just readily constantly seeing people my age dying of natural causes like this and dealing with these medical complications. And that's just the reality of getting older. So you young people, don't take life for granted. Tomorrow isn't promised. Handle your business and also try to be a little bit more healthy. Give yourself a better chance. Try to look like brother Omar over there, looking pretty good right there.
Appreciate it. I gotta say mucho, but that's my part that I would say too. They say an ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure, and those are our peers. I mean, Generation Xers like us. They shouldn't be the dialysis, the kidneys. It sounds like drug-related type of stuff. It could be congenital, but we can look at Biz Markie, type 2 diabetes, Five Dog, type 2 diabetes, Mia X, recent heart trouble. I mean, a lot of this stuff is preventable, and it shouldn't be an issue this early. Maybe in the 70s when you really start to slow down, but in the 50s, a lot of these things are preventable. We need to do a better job. And and you're right. I don't remember anything about them, but that song is so memorable. A song is memorable. You don't know anything about the artist. You know that song. And yeah. So I mean, El Poo, I wonder what you know about these artists. LBC. I don't really know the background.
Well, let me just say this much. First of all, I want to say rest in peace and my condolences to all his family and the LBC crew and all those people. And the only thing I can say is that's the only song I knew from them. They more or less a one-hit wonder to me. And you didn't said everything else. I mean, you guys have already covered everything else, but I just want to send my condolences to his peoples and everything.
True.
And I will say that we play a part in our sort of like our medical situation. A lot of this also is misdiagnosis and bad sort of like the medical industry. I have a dear friend. I'm not putting his business out there. Very, very close friends dealing with a lot of this stuff. And I mean, it's just that he got crappy medical advice, medical whatever. I mean, he just went through a whole lot. It's a tragic situation. And it's like, he wouldn't be going through what he's going through right now if the system was just a whole lot more responsible, a whole lot more better, and just,
and a lot more racist.
Yeah.
In Texas. Yeah.
So, absolutely. So that's that situation. Go ahead.
I'm going to just say this much. Everybody has a date. You don't know what it is. You can't stop it. So live your life. That's what I say. But yeah, you try to prevent this, and try to live as healthy as you can, but still you can't stop death. It's two things you can't stop: time and death. Okay, let's go.
Yeah. And I always say it like this, death is gonna come for us all, but I don't want to die sickly. I don't, it's how you die. It's how you live, but it's also how you die. So, you know, balance that out. But yeah, so I hear what you're saying. So next in the news topic is this SAG-AFTRA strike is over. Now, I got some selfish things about it. I'm happy that some of these movies, these Marvel movies, that I'm happy that they're gonna be able to get on traction. Some of these shows I watch. I don't watch a lot of TV nowadays, but I respect that these people were fighting for rights that they really shouldn't have had to fight for. When we talk about these AI things where they're just like, oh, we can just basically scan you in AI and we do this, we're not going to compensate you for it. To me, that's absolutely ridiculous. I understand that I'm a socialist and I'm not a capitalist, and I, when it comes to intellectual property, I believe in exploiting it, but I don't, I understand that where I fall makes this kind of a silly argument, but the bottom line is pay the people for what they contribute to, whether it's their likeness, whether it's their activity, whether it's their singing, whether it's their dancing. And I'm glad that they worked that out. I'm glad they're going to get that. Two of the things that I noticed that they also achieved was now there's going to be an on-set person that deals with their cosmetics. And I guess before they weren't necessarily ethnic centric or we understand that you need a different type of barber for black people than for white people. So the bottom line is now that's one of the things that they negotiated, that that as far as people's ethnicities and their personal cosmetic dynamics, they're going to have representation so that they can get attended to properly. And another thing that was the streaming issue. Now they're going to get proper a pull of the streaming. So that's what's going on with that. You got something to say about that, brother Bixby?
I mean, in general, I'm for workers' rights, union and those type of things. I don't really know the specific demands that were being made. I do think that, how long was it? Like 108 or 80 days, or
it was about 4 months. It was about 4 months. So it was a big deal.
I'm sad that, I'm glad. I don't know what they the benefits were, but I know usually black people are the last hired, first fired, and in situations, small budget projects, I know they're going to get tossed to the side now because of that situation. So I don't know really what to make of it. I'm for workers' rights though in general. So
yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, it's $1 billion industry, to give people what they deserve.
Well, it's a good thing that unions actually exist. Yeah. And the thing you were saying about the diversity and the people that's actually doing the cosmetics or whatever the case is, I wouldn't want a dude named Brad cutting my hair. I'm just saying. Your name gotta be like Muhammad or Jimmy or something like that, or you gotta have a name like Ray Ray. You gotta know what you're doing on my head.
Yeah, but we can't go to Supercuts.
Exactly.
Hey, I've been there on Melrose. I mean, I don't know if they do this before, but they put signs out there like they don't do black hair, so
real?
Yeah, so I mean that was a long time ago, so I don't know if that. I know it sounds terrible, but that was a thing that was done.
That was 60 what? That was 60.
Man, that was a thing that was done like 20 years ago. When I was, as Walk would say, out there in the streets, and and it's like, to me, I understood it, because if you don't know how black hair is just different. Yeah. So you got to know how to work with it. If you don't, let a person know. Don't be no black person just walking into a white salon thinking that you're gonna get proper service. It just don't work like that.
You got to know that 3C. Was it 3C, 4C? Some people, you got to know that. You got to do the knowledge on that here.
So yeah, so that's what's up on that. Oh, and another point that they negotiated, I remember reading, is that they're gonna have like an intimacy coach to help sort of like oversee when they have to do nudity or sex scenes, because I guess they were, a lot of people did it, but now it's going to be mandatory. So I guess they're trying to things that'll help actors feel more protected, and so good for them.
Oh, they're gonna give men puffers then, huh?
I wonder if and how that applies to adult film industry.
Yeah,
I know
exactly.
they don't really have union representation. You
You
remember
know,
the movie Sweetback's Badass by
Melvin Van Peebles.
Melvin Van Peebles? Okay, he used his own son in the scene to kind of avoid the union, rights or what have you. He used nudity because they were not covered under the union protections or something like that. So anyway, I'm just wondering, thinking out loud.
that is a very questionable scene right there. I like literally
Yeah.
forgot about that. Now that I'm
Uh,
thinking about that, it's like, it's different when it's a boy, but yeah,
yeah.
that was,
True, true,
yeah,
true,
but
true.
to me, one of the things that makes me cringe is, you ever see this movie called Eve's Bayou?
Yeah.
And there's a scene where Samuel
Mhm.
Jackson is kissing a certain person. I'm not gonna say what her name is, but at the time she was very very young. To me, I was like, yeah, they didn't have to show that. I didn't, I didn't care for that. Now it turns out that she's grown up and now she's a very loved and appreciated actress. She's a grown
Oh,
woman now.
so and that's the scene. I vaguely remember. Is that the scene where Samuel smacks her? She tries to kiss
Yeah, I
him
think she
intimately.
pretends to be like, Samuel's character doesn't realize, he thinks it's the wife, and it turns out being the daughter. Like, I'm gonna take care of you, and
Okay.
and I mean they kiss, and I was just like whoa, bruh, this, we can imply what's happening without necessarily needing to show that. I mean, to me as a grown up,
What question, real quick? But did they really kiss, or was there a stunt dummy, or what do we know?
now that you say that, I mean, that's definitely possible.
Okay.
I don't think that was the case. I think they were talking about it. I don't know if he was very comfortable with it. But I mean, he's an actor. They commit to it. I mean, I know Will Smith wasn't comfortable with doing those scenes in 6 degrees of separation and stuff like
He was
that.
comfortable with that. He was comfortable with that.
Let's ask Tina.
He was comfortable with that.
No
Hey,
comment. No comment.
that's the movie where you said, "I hope they burn in hell." Right?
No, that was you're talking about Samuel Jackson. No, that was the one with the lady that played Josephine Baker. I forgot what her name is. But I mean, it was East Bayous. They were basically in the South, and it was a situation where
It's the Oprah film. I remember. I know what you're talking
yeah,
about. With the little young girl.
with the young girl, and both of those ladies have grown up. I mean, they're both adults, beautiful black women. We salute them. They're doing their thing and stuff like that. But they was kids back then.
But one thing I want to say about the Sweetback, I forgot the name of it. Sweetback, badass,
Song. Don't forget song.
Sweetback song, yeah, whatever the name of it. They consider
it's
that
like a Tribe Called Quest. You got to say the whole thing.
What you just said, Sweetback, badass
pimp
song.
named Slickback. They consider that movie to be the beginning of the black exploitation movies. Just a little piece of knowledge for you guys.
Now, but the blaxploitation movies, I agree, but the ones that ensued or came out after them, like Shaft, that same year, the protagonist, the main character, was a police. Right. But Sweetback was not police, so they flipped the script though and made the police the black hero.
Right.
Yeah. So
it is what it is.
And that scene, boy, I'm just telling you, that actress. There's certain things I wouldn't be comfortable with doing as an actor. Salute to the actors to do what they do. Some things we can use our imagination for. Yeah. But next in the news topic, Miss Sexy Red, or as I call her, Ratchet Red. She was in a situation where she was being carried by one of her security people, and she was going across venue security or past venue security, and it would appear that he kind of touched her butt. Whether he did it on accident, I don't know. Her hand was right there. I don't know if he was trying to dab her. Maybe he was trying to cop a feel. But she ends up like in the video, like, hey, this dude like touched me. And then her security guard, kind of runs up on that dude, and then he gets touched. So, it was kind of a situation, but this showed me that, she ain't ratchet. So she still got some type of limitations, but I'm sure you got a nice little take on Sexy Red. That's a very interesting take on his brother Bixby.
Oh, no, I don't really have a strong take on it, but I like the sister. Hey, she's a round the way girl looking plain Jane, but as the name says, still sexy. I like her physicality, her physical degree, as Ghostface would say. But I mean, I don't see anything inconsistent. Like, just because, even if she's promiscuous, even if she's a quote unquote slut, that doesn't give anyone, she gives consent. Whoever she wants, she still selects and chooses who she wants to sleep with, who she wants to touch her. So there's no reason to imply that because of her music, she should be harassed or touched without consent. So
that's true.
Yeah.
But
I stand corrected on that. You're absolutely correct, brother.
Let me correct you one more time. You call her a round the way girl. In the hood, we call her a hood rat. Dude probably touched her. I think he was trying to touch her face, but he couldn't tell the difference because
Ouch. Hey, you know what? I do support. I love what you said about her, that she looks like a regular person, and I salute that. I mean, she's got the enhancements, and I'm not a big fan of that type of stuff.
She
but
do? I didn't know that. Okay.
Oh, you talking about this? This stuff is very fictitious looking. Okay. Yeah, but I do support. I think that we should normalize normality, or should I say accentuate normality? I'm just saying that we need to adjust our concepts of beauty to encapsulate more. So I big ups to that. I definitely.
You remember there was I don't think the same issue or the same discussion was made when Will Smith had a situation. I think he was overseas filming, or he was interacting with the fans, and one fan kissed him. I don't know if you've seen the video.
I remember that. It was a prankster. Yeah, he slapped him. It was a prankster. He just does that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody applauded that. There was no issue about, his character or anything. Like, it was just, man, especially since it was a man. If it was a woman, it would probably been a different take on it, but still. I don't know.
Yeah. I might have been, I would have absolutely been violent myself. So he got really off nice with the slap. I would have like just flipped. I mean, again, it would be inappropriate for a female to kiss me because I'm married, and then I'd be worried about the violence that'd be waiting for me at home. So, the bottom line is it would not be okay if anybody do it, but especially with a man. To me, you should just know better. Again, I support that community, and particularly I support. Again, I'm one of the people that say that it's natural evolution. We need that. We need this for population. Everybody deserves a place, in society, but you got to respect those boundaries. That's just absolutely
hold on. Everything is not a natural evolution. Homosexuality is not natural. Number one, and also let me say this much right here. Let's talk about this. Sexy Red. I mean, she deserves to be respected as a woman, as a person, and everything. But you got to respect yourself. Look at this line of lip gloss she got out: gonorrhea, nut, chlamydia. I mean, if you want respect, do some respectable things. I'm not going to say act respectable, but I mean, of course, that goes without saying. But some people are promoting this type of stuff. Well, she's promoting it because she's actually putting this line out there, and that's just dropping the bar so low that how much lower can you go? You got to go underground to get lower than this.
I disagree. I think that women. Well, let me go back to the LGBTQ.
I knew you wouldn't let that slide.
I mean, it takes place in the natural world without any human intervention or influence. We see it's been documented in nature as well. So it's something that is a part of the natural world.
Wait. Homosexuality, bisexuality, those things naturally occur. As far as transsexuality, as far as I mean, maybe the need or the desire naturally occurs or whatever, but I mean, obviously, if you have a sex change, now you're not talking about something natural. You're talking about something that's been manipulated.
Well, you know what else is natural in the world too? Abnormal things such as Down syndrome. People born with defects and stuff like that. It could be that type of thing too. So I'm not comparing the two. It's not really a debate to have. I'm just saying this. I think it's really a choice in a sense, and then it's like a lot of influence around it too. Because I was reading this thing on the internet about these schools kind of like teaching, kind of encouraging people to be gay. And it's just like I said, it's not a discussion I'm going to go into. I don't want to go to a whole big or rant about it right now. Maybe it's a topic we can have later on the Focus Up show. But yeah, let's just move on from that.
Okay, I'll say, if I could cap and say one sentence. The reason, if you're for black, I don't think you can be for black liberation and be against black LGBTQ people. I think because they're an important part of the community, just like heterosexuals are, just like women. So when we talk about the black community, we have to be inclusive of all sexual orientations in the black community.
I believe in that. I believe in that fully. I believe in that fully because black
people.
What
was the other piece though? You said the other piece. I'm sorry because I had to go back to that first. But what was the other piece you said when you were talking? Right,
I think you were just talking about if for a person who really digs into her ratchetosity.
Oh yeah, I remember. So yeah, I think that female rappers, I don't know, lack of better words, they can't really go into the area of gangster rap. I mean, dudes got that marketed. They have that controlled. And dudes are more gangster than women could ever be. So what else do they go to? They have to go to some other hood sex. That's their lane that they can actually use. But you're right though, Pooh. She does represent the stereotypical hood rat, and that's what she's marketing. She's marketing that. She's branding that. I think it's just as destructive as gangster rap. I don't think it's either or. I think they're equivalently.
I agree with you. I agree with you 100% on that. And I'll also say that, look, there's a lot of things for folks to be rapping about. You know, you don't have to be necessarily rapping about the hood. You don't have to rap about being a hoe. You can be a grown up like we are and be rapping about your job. You know, there's this thing called nerdcore or something, whatever, stuff like that, where they rap. I mean, they rap about stuff that, like, you know, regular people deal with. So I'm just saying that, you know, or like Jay-Z's last album, you know, he was you know, I don't know if it was his last album, but that one about the OJ, we're not gonna go there. But the bottom line is he was talking about grown people subjects. So I'm just saying
that sex is not off the topic. I mean, sex should not be off the topic. Let's talk about sex, but you don't have to put it in that context.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
You have to put it in the context of misogyny, in the context of well, we can talk about this. I don't see anything wrong with sex.
I don't want to do it either, but I'm gonna say it like this. Once I see your body, what else do you have to offer me? Once you offer your body, what else do you have?
Hey, if they got some special tricks that they do with that body, that's something different.
Right. Hey, amen.
But if you're giving it to everybody, then what's the worth there?
I mean, I'll say this: if you present yourself a certain way, it's that's not really demanding respect. You shouldn't be surprised if you're not getting a lot of respect. But
the dudes rap about promiscuity all the time. I mean, she's not actually getting out. You think she out there like that? She's just like a regular dude, probably a little less. I mean, what?
She says she is the raw dog queen.
Just like dudes claim they killed 144 niggas last night. I mean, they just talking. She just this marketing, man.
Hey, you know what? And I've said this on the show. I said I actually like hoes better than gangsters.
I do too.
I feel less threatened by that.
Hey, I'm like, what's on boy? Used to be with Baby and them. You know, the producer, Manny Fresh.
Fresh, yeah.
I love the hoes. I love the hoes.
So, but yeah, you know, but you know, again, but I feel it's like the flip side of the same coin. You know, guys were getting away doing all of this stuff for long. If these females are basically exploiting that same lane, hats off to them. So that's why I always say that, look, our biggest thing that we complain about is balance. If they're gonna do that, that's fine. But then we got to have all these other people doing, you know, what they shine some light on them too. Don't let them be the only thing that you see about female rappers. Yeah. But you know, we'll deal with that. I'll spin that back.
I gotta say one more thing though. It's a whole lot of gangsters on Figueroa, but I'll go down there to see the hoes. I'm just
all right. So also in the news, we got these 4 LA County Sheriff employees commit suicide in 24 hours. Now, we don't have any more details. They haven't released, you know, who these people were. But I'm not a person, I really don't believe in speculating when I don't have information. But this is going to be one of the situations where I sit there and go, 4 of them in 24 hours? that makes me think that something, some ball is about to drop. Something embarrassing is about to play out, that maybe they had something to do with, or there was a serious mental health crisis of something that was going on there. So
it's interesting that you're saying this, because I just caught the tail end of something yesterday on the news. It was some videos of the LA County Jail, the sheriffs beating up on some of the inmates. I didn't get the full story. Like I said, I caught the last 30 seconds of it. And you know, I saw the caption. It says videos released of the LA County Jail sheriffs, something like that, to that effect. And I just saw them just beating up on inmates. It was a few videos they were showing. So that might have something to do with it.
Yeah, I always think about
y'all are a bunch of conspiracy theorists, man. I mean, it's just coincidence that that's just coincidence that 4 officers died within the span of 24 hours. I mean, what's the?
Oh,
yeah. You know what? I think the problem is not
committed suicide.
The problem is not speculation, but it's when people speculate and don't say that they're speculating. They pretend like they have the answer, or they know, you know, but we're just speculating here. But I think another take is this. I would be interested in knowing the ethnicities of the officers, because chances are they're probably white, because the white suicide rate is like 7 times the black suicide rate.
Wow.
And I think, yeah, just another context and way to look at this. This is another sad example of white on white crime. You know, I mean, white people, it's a damn shame, man. White people kill each other. 85% of white people are killed by white people. And look at how they just killing each other, because if I kill a white person dies. If a white person kills a white person, that's white on white crime. If a white person kills themselves, that is also too white on white crime. So just another look. They could have been linked to the opioid, you know, epidemic. They could have been a part of a cult or what have you. But again, white people, white on white crime.
Hey, that's turnabout is fair play. I whenever I look at those comments on the internet, and you just got those people, them trolls coming in, black on black, whatever, and it's like, y'all, the most killingest folks out here. Let's not go there. But,
I'll kill each other.
What I'm gathering from this is white people are very violent.
Oh, yeah.
Another good take. Yeah, those are good. That's why we hear these are takes that we wouldn't hear on the mainstream media.
Exactly. That's we call it the new black media. So, you know, and also, you know, let's take a moment to shout out that I know you got your stream thing going on. So, you know, you should definitely, you know, promote that. You know,
okay. Yeah. So it's not up and ready yet. I'm trying it out, but coming soon. Afro Gnostics, a podcast where we dispel and deconstruct supernatural, superstitious beliefs and myths in the Black community. Yep. So Afro Gnostics coming soon. Afro Gnostics.
All right. Salute, support. So yeah, I'll come on there and debate with you. You know.
Okay, absolutely.
Like we always do. But you know,
let's shout out our other shows. We got Sex Talk with Walk. Thursday nights. I can't say when, but mostly Thursday nights.
So tell me a little bit about that show, El Poo. Is it like advice, counseling, therapy? Like what?
Yeah, it's the love doctor, Mr. Walk. He gets on here. It's most of the time
heterosexual grown conversations about relationships.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's what he says. So he gives you advice, his takes on, like the last show, he's talking about the thing, that the big debate that's been going around, or whether you can take a female to the Cheesecake Factory on a first date. So, you know,
it was called first dates do's and don'ts.
Yeah. So and he's been doing some research. He's been doing some research because of that list that came out about where you don't take a woman to on the first date. And you know, I've been looking at his page, and there's a lot of females saying that there was nothing wrong with the Cheesecake Factory, but you know.
Okay.
But you know but hey, salute to that brother show. So that's that show, and then we got the big hit show.
How much cheese you got? You know,
yeah, that's a big part of it too. But spin that back, at 10:30 a.m. our time, 30 minutes after the Focus Up show, and we talk old school hip hop, and it's great. It's great.
And today we're going to talk about Dr. Dre. Is he actually the best producer in hip hop history to this point?
Yeah, save it for the show.
We'll be there at 10:30 and figure it out. We're going to find out 10:30.
I don't know. That's a good
10:30. Yeah, exactly. So then also, we had the GOP, had these elections, and it was sort of a referendum on a lot of democratic policies, talking points. You're talking about abortion, I think a seat, a Supreme Court seat or something like that. There were some things that went on. So Democrats have been duck walking about this victory, but they're very concerned about those Trump polls, where he's doing pretty well head to head, against Biden. So we'll see. And this is early, because as I understand it, this was actually the case with Obama as well for his second run.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just that when it's this early, that's when you're going to have all the discontent and all that. But once they wrap up the conversations and the debates, and you realize, you're going to have to ultimately vote your policy. Right now you can voice your anger, but you're going to have to vote your policy later down the line, and then those numbers kind of come back. But you got something to say about that?
No, I mean, I don't, me, I mean, I think, I don't really have much to say. I mean, it's protracted war. I think that, well, the most recent, are you going to talk about the recent states that passed abortion legislation? Or is that part of it?
I didn't even know about that. I mean, you said anti-abortion recently. Yeah,
I'm sorry, not anti-abortion, but anti-abortion.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that was okay. Yeah, that I know about. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's the thing about they're showing that look, that despite where people lean Democrat or Republican or whatever, that most of the people, the bigger numbers tend to support at least the choice of abortion. I always want to distinguish that it's not about whether you believe abortion or against abortion. It's an issue whether you believe that they have the right to decide about that. So to me, like my personal position, I believe I'm going to leave the policing to the women to police their own situation, but I don't actually support abortion, the activity. I just support that's their decision to make, and they can deal with the fallout from that, as far as whether God's okay with it or not. Of course, if you don't believe in God, then that's not even an issue. But that's where I stand on that.
Well, if the topic was about abortion, I'll say I'm all for abortion. You see these badass kids running around?
Hey, I'm Team Thanos. I'm Team Thanos. Less people. I'm absolutely. I'm telling you, that's exactly. Why. That's another way I do support that. So yeah. I mean, if you're not gonna have an infrastructure to deal with these people living, if you're not gonna work with these lives that you're so concerned about saving, if you're not gonna do nothing about the quality of their lives or the safety of their lives after they're born, you probably should not be so rah-rah in the abortion, argument. But
yeah. The issue of Trump being slightly ahead in the poll, I think the big deal about it, No Backbone Van Jones was talking, and he was appalled, or he was trying to explain it, and I just kind of get the sense that in the media they're spinning it like black men are increasingly supporting Trump, or I think it's kind of divisive. And the way they calculated people of color, I don't know how that calculation was done and what have you, but when it comes to Trump, black people are the least of your problems. We shouldn't even be looked at or considered. It's white people. You know what I'm saying? Y'all the problem. So don't even put the spotlight on us if Trump gains a few points. Talk to your people. That's your people. We're the least supportive of Trump.
Let's do the horn.
It does deserve the horn.
Yeah. In fact, you can circle in areas where Trump is strong, and it's going to be like 1% black people living there or less.
That's right, white folks, get your mans.
Yeah, get your folks, man.
My mic had went out, so I want to say one more thing about the abortion thing. I also take this stance: all ugly women should get an abortion.
But that's not scientific, though, because we have some good-looking offspring from non-standard women or whatever.
Well, I can say this much. Speaking from experience, I'm an ugly man. I got some beautiful kids.
Amen. And I always say this: if we produce a whole bunch of ugly people, then we need to recalibrate beauty. So that's just what it is. So yeah. So
yeah, that's true. That's
Hey, I'm
true.
just I'm just BSing y'all. I'm just
Yeah,
playing.
he just giving you some walk. Shout out to our brother Walk. That's not here. That gives us as Marley Ma would say the seasoning, the flavor.
I'm the makeup for what's missing.
So and shout out to Floyd X, and shout out to First Lady. She's dealing with she had some guests come in and dominate, so she's dealing with that stuff. Maybe we'll get her back. If not, she's here in spirit always.
Oh yeah, so you mentioned Marley Marl. Shout out to Marley Marl too. They just gave him his props, his flowers recently. I think the BET 50th hip hop thing. Yeah.
I can't wait to talk about Dr. Dre being the best producer on Spin That Back. So we can't spin that back 30 minutes after the Focus Up show, Gus. We're going to talk about Primo. We're going to talk about RZA. A whole bunch of people. So yeah, I got something to say about this. This is going to be juicy.
Hey, what did Debbie, what Dimples D say when she took her stand?
Marley Marl is one hell of a man. That's what I'm talking about. I set up, brother. So that kind of covers all the stuff that we want to talk about in the news. I don't know if we're gonna do any commercials. We'll probably maybe do some shout outs. What do you want to do about that, El Poo?
Let's just keep on going, man. Let's go straight to the topics.
Okay, so we're gonna go straight into topics. Now, the reason why we're talking, one of the things that we were talking about, the Jeezy did an interview with Nia Long, and I checked out the video, and that sort of like inspired this topic. Why would a man file for divorce? Now, I'm gonna say one thing. I have somewhat of a familial tie to his I guess to his ex-wife to be, because my sister was like her top executive assistant for quite some time, and she's always treated my family well. So I'm not gonna say a single bad thing about that sister. She's always done right by us. So and I'm not gonna be bashing Jeezy, because I'm supporting a black man who's had a successful rap career and done some things. And when I saw that interview, I saw an honest, evolved human being, and I respect him. But I didn't co-sign. I didn't hear anything that sounded like a justification for divorce. My thing about this is, I'm concerned about if I have a kid. I've been married twice. I'm married now. I have a great marriage going on right now. And when I went through that divorce, one of the big problems for me was that I just had my kid. And my biggest issue was, it was much of a shock to the system, as far as the relationship ending and me not seeing that coming. But the fact that now I have this kid that I have access to 24 hours, that I'm no longer going to have access to 24 hours. And my thing is this: I'm going to do whatever I can do to maintain myself in the household where my kid is. So that's my thing on it, like that. Obviously, if a relationship is so toxic that it just can't function, then you got to do something about it. If you're a female, it's a different burden, because if you're being physically abused and all this other stuff, you need to be safe and get out of there. But with this perspective that we're talking about is, why would a man file for a divorce? And I'm just saying that there's no thing that's going to basically supersede my need to stay in that household with my kid. That's my take on it. What you got to say about this, Brother Bixby?
Well, I want to say really quick, I don't like a lot of these former ex-gangster rappers that people perceive as evolved. I don't believe that they're evolved. I don't believe it, because when you did wrong and you made money and exploited our condition, our situation, when you promoted misogyny and fratricide to accumulate this wealth, and you're really evolved, or you really changed, what are you going to do to compensate for that, to make up for that? Can we at least get a public apology that you promoted madness? And that's a different story. But I think I don't see any. I filed for a divorce because I knew that soon I would be purchasing some property and some things. I don't want that to be in my former partner's name. I'm residentially separated from that person. Yeah. So why do I want to buy something and then she get the co-ownership in it? So it became legally necessary for me to divorce.
Yeah.
I don't know the situation between them, but yeah.
I haven't been married, but I would suppose I would file for a divorce if she was probably cheating, or if she was, getting abusive, or just being super disrespectful, like my man Tony Boyd said, or if I won the lottery something like that.
Man.
I mean, those like the only. That's my top 3 reasons to get a divorce. I think.
I've always said that.
Because when you win the lottery, I know there's a time lapse between, you know, when you win and you receive the money. That would be like a good time to get a divorce. You know
I don't think it works like that. I think that you basically won the rights during the course of your divorce. I always think it like this: if a person was wanted to get divorced and you won the lottery, so you're splitting it. That's your buyout. You know what I'm saying? So you know, it just is what it is.
Yeah.
You know that's you know. But yeah, I don't want to be talking too much about that type of stuff. But yeah,
so is there a reason why? Do we know why? What's the motive behind
well,
it?
what I gathered from the interview, I mean, what he was talking about is a lot of situations that he had with his mother, and you know,
His mother or her mother?
his mother. So the interview is mostly talking about Jeezy. He really, you know, to his credit, and I want to salute this about him. You know, we put too much of our personal business out there. And I felt like he did a really good job of not putting Jenny Mai's business out there or his business out there. He talked about his own personal situations in his own household growing up with his mother. So I felt like a lot of that was about that. And he did talk about that, how he and Jenny Mai went through therapy and therapy wasn't enough. And again, I don't know what their situation is, so I'm not going to judge him to say that it wasn't the right call to make. You know, again, I have sympathy for her just because of my personal ties to her. And then I also got sympathies from the concept of when you have two people in a marriage and one wants to get a divorce and one doesn't want to get a divorce, I feel sympathy for the person that doesn't want to get a divorce, because the person that wants to get a divorce is getting exactly what they want. So, you know, that's kind of what their situation is. Tony Boyd, he said, women get very disrespectful when they can't control themselves. Disrespectful. Sorry, I messed that up. I mean,
just women, no one else.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, to me, that's a two-way street. You know, it is a two-way street.
Well, to answer what he's saying, you gotta learn how to control her, then, fool. Nah, I'm just
you ain't got her in check.
So it's clear though, she doesn't want a divorce though. She doesn't.
She doesn't. She's, you know, he was the guy that filed for divorce. He was and I'm not saying that he wanted to. Maybe he felt he needed to. You know, he said he basically felt like he needed to for him.
Tired of the bull.
You know, so you know that was his decision. But what'd you say, Elpu?
He got tired of her bull. Her bull.
Assuming that it was her bull, because he might have just been. They might have just.
It might have been his mom, like you said.
Yeah, because we don't know their relationship history. We're kind of speculating. Like they could have almost filed several times. They could be residentially separated. They could be going through a lot for the. I don't know. So we don't know.
Yeah, we don't.
And they just may not sort of like see eye to eye with their roles in the marriage. You know what I'm saying? She's a very strong woman that she's got her show and all this stuff. So she's doing a lot of activity, and maybe she's not the in-home that he might require. I'm just giving you a speculation why he can have an abrasive, he can feel some type of way about it, and neither of them is really the culprit or the, you know, a monster about it. It's just a conflict of interest type of situation.
It might have been he just really didn't know her as well as he thought he did until he really moved in with her and had to see her every day and saw her without that makeup and everything, and she started smelling and all this stuff. Oh, it might have been something. I mean, the thing is, you don't really know a person until you really live with them.
You live with them. That's exactly true. They could have got into a heated argument. She called him a nigger. She could have said, "I'm smoking on some Pookie Loke or something," you know, just trying to agitate him. You know, his homie that, you know, so
yeah, ouch.
That's like probably unforgivable. You can't be smoking on Pookie Loke, you know.
Or he could just be a selfish dude looking out for himself. So, you know, I'm going to present the flip side of that. You know, some people just, you know, when you're a rich person and you can kind of do whatever you want, and you're usually the people that tend to be around you are yes folk. When you're rich, you know, it's like celebrities, you got levels of celebrity, and I understand that there's some celebrities that are way bigger than others, but in your circle, if you're a celebrity, you're that person. And, you know, the people around you tend to just yes, and you're sort of like the voice of your own God.
You kind of become Yahweh.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You become the voice of your own God.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying that, you know, that's not necessarily a justification for the things that you do.
I think it might have been this too. He probably got to the point where he was about ready to put his hands around her neck, and he had to stop himself and say, you know what, I got to get out of this, because if I'm going this far, who knows how far I might take it. Let me go ahead and try to remove myself from the situation before I do create a worse situation. You know, it could be something like that.
He said real N-words don't. Oh no, that's cheat. I wouldn't say about putting hands on females, but you know, that's I don't know. You know, again, we don't know. I'm not trying. I don't want to put anything that makes it look like she did anything in a bad light. And on that flip note, I don't want to do anything that makes him look like in a bad light. I mean, there was a lot of information in that interview. He's talking about
not saying that she probably did anything. It's just, you know, it's just sometimes you just get that frustration. I don't know if she had to do something or it's just him just going off, you know. But either way, it's all speculation. We don't really know until they until they put it out there and say exactly what it was.
And we don't need it.
I would say that the Yahweh analogy we made, I think, is really bad.
You should probably just say the God analogy so it's not to offend some of us. I know that Tony Boyd has got a little comedy saying what, and I don't know if he's reacting the same way that I do. We're very protective of that word, but we understood the God concept. So, you know. But go ahead.
There's also, when we say it's a God concept, it's also a criticism of God, because he surrounds himself with yes men as well. What's bad for the goose is also bad for the gander.
But he did. I agree with Tony Boyd right here. She did admit that she did have a bad temper. I heard her say this too a few months ago. So she kind of said she was part of the problem.
Well, everybody's part of the problem. I mean, there's probably no situation where one person is all of the problem.
Well, yeah, but he found the solution.
Is it? He found a solution to the relationship. I mean, again, to me, you know, again, to me, I'm just concerned about my kid and my access to my kid. I mean, that's why we talk about like what's it, brother Nick Cannon? You know what I'm saying? He can have all these children. He's a grown-up. That's his choice. But I mean, how much of parental influence is he really able to have with these kids in all these different households and these different baby mamas and all this other stuff? I mean, to me, your kid is your greatest responsibility. It's your greatest life's achievement that you can accomplish as far as developing and cultivating and whatever. And anything that gets in the way of that, I tend to have a problem with.
Yeah, first of all, his work schedule, how you go attend all their proms and special events, and you can't.
And then you can't, because you got an ex-wife like Mariah Carey. Like, you ain't finna see that. My kids ain't finna be around all these other kids. You know, you got to deal with all these, like you say, these baby mamas and their personalities and their needs.
Who wants the women scorn? Who wants the women
scorn stuff, man? I mean, but it's the flip side.
I had a whole lot of experience with a few.
But it's the flip side. It's a truth. It's, you know, it's something that goes on there. We're not going to try to present it like that's the only thing out there, but it is something that's out there. So, you know, salute El Poo for you and your personal experiences and your personal take.
Hey.
But you know, so I mean, that's that. Again, I feel like, look, you work together. If you can work together, work together. If you can't, then, you know, there comes a point in time where you kind of have to make that hard decision. Don't create a terrible environment for a kid. If the environment that you're creating by staying is worse than the environment that would be with you going, to me, that would be justification of ending it. You know, but to me, I'm a type of person that, you know, I don't feel that there's just not too much that's just going to jump away in my responsibility to try to be a father to my kid. So that's my thing. But I'm not judging anybody else. Everybody's got their own different takes, their own priorities, and you got to do for yourself. You can only process things through your filter and your concept of what's going on. So, you know, salute to Jeezy, salute to Jeezy, you know.
Yeah. Salute to Nick Cannon, because, brother, if you can afford it, I'm all for it.
I don't know if I'm all for it, but yeah, rock on, brother. You know, he's a positive brother for all intents and purposes. He's a positive brother.
Spreading himself a little thin, but yeah.
Watch the man must spread his seed across the world, huh?
Well, and again, that's a technique and a strategy, and there's something to it. So, you know, I support it after a fashion. I mean, you know, I feel like children are a blessing. You know,
it says in the Bible, "Be fruitful and multiply."
So
he
you know
that literally.
So yeah. So
it also says you can have slaves. Yeah.
See, I knew he's gonna have that conversation. That's a good conversation.
You can have concubines too.
We can have that conversation. We
And
can't have that
transgender
conversation today.
units.
We're gonna have that conversation on what is what's the name of the show?
Oh, Afro-Gnostics.
Afro-Gnostics. Yeah, we're gonna have that discussion.
You say coming soon, though. When is that, bro?
Coming soon. I would say towards the end of November. Noviembre.
Okay. Well, you gotta make sure to send me an invite, man. I send it to all my my peoples. We got millions of viewers that be watching.
I know y'all plug me into y'all.
We're trying to get there. We're trying to get there. So so one thing, the one topic, and to me, this is where Democrats are in big trouble. Should the U.S. stop sending money, weapons to Ukraine and other countries? To me, this is a losing proposition. I don't just think that the Republicans, you're going to get support as far as sending to Israel for religious reasons, for policy reasons. But as far as Ukraine's is a support for the GOP. And, I just think that a lot of people are just like, hey, you're sending all this money out to there and we got a whole bunch of things to be worked out domestically. So this is a tough position. And I understand why they do it. And I'll say this. I've said this a few times on the show. If you're supposed to take the position that we're a first world country, we support, free countries as opposed to countries that are communist and socialist, or not so much socialist, but particularly communist and authoritative, that, if we have a country that we're trying to befriend and work with, when they need help, we're going to assist them because we want more people like us. That's their argument. I'm not saying that's my argument. That's their position. And the reason why they're supporting Ukraine is they're saying is that, look, Ukraine is being invaded by Russia. Ukraine is an ally. They're a free democratic nation. And then we support democratic free nations. That's their premise. I'm not saying that that's the truth, but that's where it is. And, and that's my take on it. And Brother Tony, but a better question is, why is the U.S. sending money? And I think that really cuts to where people are at. So what's your take on this, Brother Omar?
Man, I didn't really prep up for it, but
it's just the concept of sending money out there. Weapons. Should the U.S. be sending money? And not like when you're talking about first aid to Gaza, that's different. I mean, that's humanitarian as far as it's just basic, like whatever. But when you're talking about weapons and money, especially for the sake of a war, what's your take on that?
Shoot, I mean, okay, quick snapshot. The United States as a country was started in 1789. 1789, 1790, yeah. The first war occurred in 1789, 1990. I mean, 1789, 1790. The Northwest Indian Confederacy War. So the United States has been constantly in a state of war since the very beginning. And at that time, Ukraine was the Northwest Territory, modern, the states of Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, and continue expanding, acquiring more and more territory. And what we see over in Ukraine is just a continuation of that. So it's a question of U.S. imperialism. The money goes where the military goes. The military goes where the money goes. So they want to wrestle that land from another imperial power, Russia. It's just a thing that imperial powers do. I mean, we call their wars World War I, World War II, but it's the imperialist wars. It was where imperialist powers fighting over the territories that belong to people who were not a part of those imperial, countries. So I think this is just a continuation of the same. No, we should not put military money over there. That's supporting U.S. imperialism.
I got the Tupac take. They got money for wars, but can't feed the poor.
Exactamente. That's it. And we need the horn on that one.
That horn, they be hiding from you.
Yeah.
Give yourself that horn, brother.
Nah, I ain't got no horn for that. I dropped the bomb.
But what's sad about this whole Ukraine situation, I definitely felt like, look, if they're a sovereign nation and these people are invading and trying to basically bring you back into the fold or whatever, to me, I take issue with that on its face. But this is kind of a losing proposition because guess what? you're just not going to be able to send the money ad infinitum. There's going to be limitations. And if the GOP win, they're going to cut it off. And what's going to happen is once they cut it off, like Trump said, that war is going to end in 24 hours because now Russia is not going to be, they're just going to just mow over it.
But the question of, is it a sovereign country? That's, they passed a resolution that was clearly outside of international law, or I forget, whatever the resolution was, it clearly showed that they wanted to unite with Russia. The Russian speaking people are there. It was a small white supremacist contingent that is being supported by the US. They're clearly white supremacists. I forgot the name of you can look it up, just white supremacy Ukraine on YouTube. That whole paramilitary support, Nazis from here join Ukraine forces over there and vice versa. So there's a white supremacy connection that they're supporting to I guess prevent their incorporation into Russia, which there's certain benefits for them becoming part of Russia. So I don't buy that whole sovereignty, autonomy argument. It's just imperialism. They don't care when the United States cares about someone's autonomy.
And you know what? Like he said, like Tony Boyd said, he said people get money when they expect something in return. So the bottom line is, and this is my problem. The problem is you're sort of like, you talk about spending. Now you're spending money to be spending money. It's sort of like when they pulled out of Afghanistan, it felt like, look, we want to get out of Afghanistan, and they didn't necessarily pull out of it clean, but they cut the tide. It's like we shouldn't have been there, and then it kind of fell apart. Or what was the situation with Gaddafi? Was it Libya?
Yeah, Libya.
Yeah, Libya.
And and it's like Barack Obama tells you, he says, look, that was, to me, that was our greatest mistake. That was, and the fact of the matter is, you do all of this stuff and then it falls apart, and now you end up with a worse situation. So the thing about it is, you spent all this money, and if they cut it off, now you're just sort of like spending money to continue spending money because you spent all this money. But at some point, it's like, you know what, you guys need to bite the bullet. You need to,
even if they do, if they prevent, or they somehow are able to defend this small minority, which I believe to be a minority, their autonomy, who's going to benefit from that? They already have, the financial institutions are already working with, what's the president's guy, the name? I forget his name, but they're already talking about doing business. This is like, we're going to create a catastrophe, let it go on, and then we come in, and who's going to benefit from the infrastructure investment? Who's going to benefit from all the things that have to be done, the military installations and all that? It's the rich and powerful. We're not going to get any of that benefit. We're going to get the austerity that comes as a result of it.
Yeah.
Something, Floyd X had a comment